New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand with Nancy Cordes. Let's go back to Nancy now and bring in Politico's Shira Toeplitz for a little roundtable on what to watch for this week on Capitol Hill. Nancy, let me ask you first. Let me backtrack a little bit. The DREAM Act went down over the weekend, the act to allow citizenship for the children of immigrants who'd been here. What's going to be the repercussion on that?
Well, it looks like that basically dies for now, Bill, because there is only a couple of weeks left in this congressional session. The House passed it, the Senate didn't. When we come back in January, it will be an entirely new congressional session, so everything basically starts from scratch. And so the Senate and the House would have to bring it back up again, and it's unlikely that a Republican-led House would do that.
Shira, let me ask you, what are the political implications of this? What does it do for the Hispanic vote? Is that going to upset Hispanics? Will it won't help them with the president or the Republicans, right?
Well, I think it helps Democrats because they did actually bring the vote up to the Senate, and they brought it several times actually to the Senate for a vote. I mean, they tried their best to get it passed, and it obviously didn't pass, and it's not going to pass because there'll be more Republicans in the Senate and in the House next Congress. So, I mean, it shows they made it every good effort, but up until the last minutes of this vote, we were fairly sure it wasn't going to pass.
So what's the attitude of Republicans on the Hill when it appears that Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi are doing their best to cram in their agenda in this lame duck session before they won't have the power to do it anymore?
No, I think Republicans, and rightfully so, they would like to go home for Christmas, in part because when they come back, they're going to have more members in their caucus. Starting January 5th, several more Republican senators will be in, taking the place of several Democratic senators, and their caucus is going to be larger. Look, they have every reason to want to wait a couple weeks to deal with these, to deal with some of these items on the agenda.
Nancy, that brings us to the START treaty, which is one thing that the Republicans would certainly like to delay. But what are the prospects for getting that done in this session?
Well, nobody really knows right now, Bill, not Democrats or Republicans, because the challenge for Democrats with the START treaty is that they need 67 votes to pass it. They don't just need a majority of 51 votes. They don't just need that supermajority of 60 votes. They actually need 2/3 of the Senate to ratify the treaty. And right now, they know that they have at least 60 votes, but they're just not sure if they can get all the way to 67, if they can get some Republican support. Over the weekend, some very high-profile Republicans, John Kyle of Arizona, Mitch McConnell, the minority leader, both said they are going to vote no. That's going to have a lot of influence with other Republicans in their caucus. And so what Democrats have to decide right now is, do they bring this up for a vote tomorrow, risking the fact that they might not have the votes, or do they just wait and push this off and try to do it in January and try to keep changing some minds?
And is there any possibility that with more Republicans in the Senate, it could pass in January?
Well, there are two challenges with that. First of all, the fact that what really bothers Republicans right now is that they can't make any changes to this treaty. They can't amend it because the White House says if you do that, then we have to reopen negotiations with Russia. And you know how senators are. They like to put their stamp on things. So that really bothers them. I think most people assume that at some point, this treaty will pass, but it is definitely in Republicans' interest to sort of try to push this down the road right now, see if they can have some more influence in the new year.
Shira, let me ask you, what do you think the chances are that there will be any kind of bipartisan cooperation? Why am I laughing? After January?
Certain things there do have to, you need bipartisan cooperation, period, to pass anything in the Senate. You need those 60 votes for cloture, and Democrats will be down to a caucus of 53. So they're going to need 7 Republicans every once in a while if they want to move past cloture to cooperate with them. So in a way, I think bipartisan support, and it's going to be even more necessary than it was these past 2 years.
But I do think, Bill, that it's going to take time for everyone to get adjusted to the new reality, because it's been a while since anyone up here has had to deal with split control, with one party controlling one house, one party controlling the other. They're going to have to figure out, how do we work together? How do we do the give and take? And of course, we're going to have a lot of Tea Party members looking to make their mark up here on Capitol Hill. So everyone's going to have to get used to that new reality as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the meantime, they're doing or trying to do so much in these few weeks of this session, when typically weeks and months go by when nothing gets done. And the public has noticed this. There's been public opinion polling which shows that people don't understand why they can't just do something like this all the time, move it ahead.
Well, I think it shows
Absolutely.
that they can get things done when they really, really have to, when their backs are up against the wall. But when they've got all the time in the world, of course they want to see what they can work out through back channels, leave all their options open, and stall.
Sure, when they're up against the clock, it's a lot easier to get things done. I think much the same with journalists and deadlines. When you have a deadline looming, you definitely want to file that story. But no, it's very true. The clock is ticking. January 3rd, they have to be done. But it is interesting to see how much they've gotten done. And there's actually been some murmurs, some talks within the Democratic caucus about even changing some of the Senate rules next session. See if they could change some things to make it easier to move past cloture, that kind of thing. Those things have come up, which is interesting.
Well, we'll see about that. All right, I would like each of you to give me your best shot on when this Congress finally adjourns. Shira?
Let's see. My guess right now, this is just right now what I know, Thursday morning. That's my guess.
Nancy?
I think Thursday morning sounds right. I wouldn't rule out the possibility that they might come back after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, to deal with START, because that's such a big priority for the president that if they can't get it done now, I know he's going to be pushing for them to try to do that before things get too difficult for the Democrats.
Okay, well, we'll all hope for a quick end to this. Shira Toeplitz of Politico, thank you very much for joining us. Nancy, thank you as always.